300 miles.
I'm downtown today because we're gonna get the truck titled with plates. I do love coming down here. Des Moines is a really cool city. I know it sounds weird if you're not from around here. Des Moines, it's actually a really neat place. Very clean. You can have a lot of fun. It's really geared towards, you know, young professionals, 30-somethings and whatnot. It's a cool city. I do love it. I'm not originally from here. I'm originally from North Texas, but I'm happy to call Des Moines home. It's a great little city. Not too big, not too small. Great city. Last time it was titled, I was 10 years old, 1992. So hoping there's no fees or anything. Let's find out. Wish me luck. Plates in hand, no back fees. That is fantastic. I may have covered it before, but in the state of Iowa, I don't have to get the truck inspected or anything. Just get the plates, you're good to drive. And you're good to be insured, so no inspection needed. We're good to go. When it comes to filler, this is my favorite kind of filler, the 3M Platinum Plus body filler. I like it better than Bondo. You don't get pinholes with this stuff. Lays out really nice. It's direct to bare steel, and it sands really easy. It won't clog up your paper as badly as Bondo does. Filler work is no fun, and it's very messy. But these Durablocks are great for getting into some of these contours, working in smaller areas. This paper comes on rolls and it's sticky backed. You just stick it on here. It'll last a long time if you keep cleaning it out. I use the air hose and just keep going until we get a nice uniform. You can feel with your hand how it's coming along. So it's basically just slow going and messy. Better than having a wavy panel. Got the filler on, and you can see it's mostly where the spot welds are for the back of the cab and the bed. None of the filler is any thicker than the thickness of a credit card. Actually, it's probably about half that thickness, which is ideal when it comes to this stuff. So getting ready for paint. All right, you paint and body guys are probably about to cringe at what I'm about to talk about. I was hanging out at my auto body paint supplier that I use for the motorbikes. I'm over there all the time, and it's kind of a hangout spot for auto body guys. And we were all sitting around talking about this truck. Some of them have watched some of these videos, and we were talking about paint. And I was just planning on using 2-part automotive paint that I'm used to with the bikes and everything. But the more we got to talking, we were talking about ways to dull it a little bit to make it somewhat oxidized. And one of the guys brought up, why not try using house paint, basically. It's called Ruscat, and this is what they use to paint Morton buildings. So it has a sealer in it, and it is designed to go direct to steel, and it's protective. It's a protective enamel typically used for Morton buildings, and it's got a ton of protection, UV protection built into it. Another bonus is it's dirt cheap. I'll be essentially just applying it with a roller, little roller. This is not like a Home Depot type. This is like professional style feather type roller, so it's not going to leave a lot of lines in it. And I'll probably go over it with, you know, like 400 to 600 somewhere in there to keep that kind of oxidized dull look. I know there's a lot of guys out there cringing right now, professional auto body guys, and I, to be honest, wasn't crazy about the idea at first, but then I thought this could be a really cool thing for the video if it actually works. If not, I'll just strip it off and go back to a 2-part paint that I'm used to with my HVLP. Seems kind of crazy. I've got a really nice HVLP. You know, I've got a nice compressor with several inline dryers and things like that for paint, for professional style painting. And I'm just going to roll on acrylic enamel. But I think it'll be a fun experiment. And that's what it is. It's an experiment. And with that said, let's roll on some paint. Before you put anything on bare metal, be it primer, sealer, whatever, always use a good, let's see if we can get it in focus. There we go. Always use a good prep solvent to get rid of, you know, any of the oils that your hands may have left or anything like that. Any junk that might have collected on the surface. Here we go. This just seems so foreign in my mind, doing this with a vehicle. But it's actually working quite nicely. And this area here, I'm just going to blend it because I'm going to age all this area. Another thought behind this was, yes, I do have lots of nice stuff for painting vehicles as far as my equipment, but not everybody has that. Not everybody has the budget to get a paint job at a paint shop. And again, if I don't like it, I'll strip it off and do it the other way. So the first coat is on and it's drying and it's starting to turn a darker blue, you know, starting to look like the original blue. It's looking good. It's going to need another coat. I know that I could have thinned this and sprayed it, but what's the fun in that? If you're going to put house paint on my vehicle, let's use a roller. Just watch, Roadkill's going to do this one of these days. I can just see it. Okay, so part of the patina process and the patina look is obviously surface rust. And this is a part of the fake patina, or where I've sanded through to bare steel. And we want surface rust on that. Obviously, it'll do it on its own over the course of months. Sometimes, depends on where you live, if it's more humid or not. But there's a quicker way to do it, much quicker. This is a mix of 1 part white vinegar, 2 parts hydrogen peroxide, and then table salt mixed into it. And if you watch what happens when we dab a little bit of that on here, it's turning to surface rust almost immediately. We can control at what level we want this surface rust. Just kind of spread it around a little bit. And if you just let that sit on here for about 10 minutes, you'll have perfect surface rust for that patina paint job of yours. So you can see now the surface rust came out nice. Pretty natural look. And it basically creates this just surface rust. It's not going to eat through the steel or anything. And if you wanted to, you could put a clear coat over that. A lot of this is just sanded. I used a 400 grit and then went to 600 grit. And the 600 grit paper kind of gives it that feel of the rest of the truck, that kind of oxidized finish. And then you just kind of sand through little areas and stuff, you know, where areas that could get worn and stuff. Here you can see some discolorization. This is easy enough. You just take a wet rag, find some rust on the truck, and then just kind of squeeze it out a little bit, and it'll start to find its way in a natural look. Always work down, don't work side to side, because the streaks will run down. A lot of these little paint chips, just do that with a screwdriver, basically. Just come in, you know, and just scratch yourself a little rock chip or paint chip. You want to do more of them towards the bottom for a more natural look than up high. As you can see here, I did more towards the bottom. That's really all there is to it. Just keep in your mind's eye what you think would look natural. If you need to, look at some pictures of some other actual patina trucks. To get this color match, I just took a fender into auto body shop. And make sure you use an auto body shop if you're going to get paint matched. They're much more accurate at it. But the color seems to work great. So yeah, that's just a quick look at patina. But the point is to kind of keep a natural look. So it doesn't look like fake patina. We've all seen that fake patina, and it could just look all wrong. Getting ready to put the wood in the bed. Basically, I just made a steel skeleton. The wood will mount here, go across to there, then mount here, go up, mount there, go across, go back down, mount to that lip, and then from there to there. This is just etching primer right here, and this is bed liner here. All of this will get bed linered. I'm just laying down the etching primer first and then putting the bed liner over that. The bed is done. It came out great. I'm really happy with it. The only tricky part is around these little wheel wells and everything, but I just used cardboard templates and cut the boards to that. Worked out good. When you're hanging out back here, you got a footstool. Watching fireworks or whatever. It's pretty cool. So I had a little snafu while charging my AC. Yeah, that's not good. Apparently these gauges are not calibrated correctly. These are cheap gauges, so there's my first mistake. So I was charging the AC going off of the gauges, and all of a sudden the compressor started making a noise, and I know that if the compressor starts being noisy, the system is overcharged, even though these needles were within the range I wanted for the temperature that it is, the ambient temperature. So I shut it off and was gonna call a buddy of mine who has the ability to evacuate safely, environmentally friendly way to evacuate these things. He's got a special machine for it. And then it sounded like a shotgun went off in the cab, filled up with refrigerant because that hose blew. And of course it was the hose that sits behind the unit, the one that mounts there. So the whole unit had to come back out. So that's what I'm dealing with today. But lesson learned. If you're gonna buy a manifold kit to charge your AC, get a quality one. I know some of you AC specialists will point out that I could have charged it by weight, but that's tricky for me because this is half Crown Vic, half Vintage Air system. So Vintage Air says fill it to 1 weight, and then the Crown Vic stock specs have a completely different weight. So I was just going off gauges. I didn't have an accurate weight to go off of. Well, that's where I'm going to leave this one. My fuel sending unit started acting up. My gauge isn't reading properly, and I've been messing with that and messing with the float and everything, and it's still not quite working. So I went ahead and ordered a new fuel sending unit slash fuel pump assembly. Because this is high mileage anyways, I figure peace of mind, at least that's all new, and hopefully that fixes the problem. In the next video, I'll be putting that in, doing the AC work, stuff like that. And then hopefully driving it. It's just all these little things, you know, start adding up and start showing up at the end of a project, and you feel like you do so much more work with so little of a payoff. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't tear me up too much about using roll-on paint. It was more of an experiment for the budget person in mind, so it worked. I mean, hey, if it works, it works. Anyways, as always, I'll see you guys next time.